HarperCollins and HarperAudio present Thank You for Voting, the Maddening, Enlightening, Inspiring Truth About Voting in America by Erin Geiger Smith. Read by Lisa Cordileone. A note before we begin. For a voting checklist, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider or go directly to www.harpercollins.com/audio/thankyouforvoting. Preface. Nobody will ever deprive the American people of the right to vote except the American people themselves, and the only way they could do that is by not voting. President Franklin D. Roosevelt's quote resurfaces every election season to encourage voter participation. It conjures an image of an American flag waving gracefully against a cloudless sky and reminds us of our personal power to steer the country on healthcare, education, the economy, climate change, and everything else that matters. Voting is one of America's greatest sources of pride. It also exposes our greatest contradictions. The United States has a voting problem. Not enough of us do it. To solve that problem, and it is solvable, we need to better understand our voting history and how it affects turnout today. Making that connection allows an honest evaluation of flaws in our electoral system. But it also means celebrating creative and effective get-out-the-vote efforts, highlighting the importance of adding fun and friendship to the process, and learning about solutions that make it easier to register and vote. Taking time to break down topics that stump even the most educated voters will empower us to enter the voting booth confident in our choices all the way to the bottom of the ballot. The goal of this book is to provide the information necessary for you to vote, to convince you of the importance of voting in every election, and to encourage you to recruit the people you're closest with to join you. Yes, social media close counts as close. Roosevelt's quote is the Instagram version of the country's more nuanced reality. The longest-serving president delivered the soundbite in a 1944 campaign season address from the White House at a time when states deprived many American citizens of the right to vote and had just years earlier barred many more. The same year as Roosevelt's speech, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the Texas white primary, which kept black people from voting. True access to the polls for African Americans in the South was more than 20 years away. Many Native Americans had more than a decade ahead of them in their struggle for voting rights. Some Asian immigrants were still permanently barred from voting. Women had voted nationwide for less than 25 years. Roosevelt knew all of this. He began his speech on that patriotic note, but soon acknowledged all the ways this initial image of America was a flattering filter. The right to vote must be open to our citizens irrespective of race, color, or creed. The sooner we get to that basis of political equality, the better it will be for the country as a whole. Roosevelt wanted to promote our ideals about voting and bury, even if just for a moment, discussion of the work still needed to approach political equality. Ignoring this bigger truth is a habit Americans have developed into an art form. After the most recent presidential election and the country's contrasting reactions of jubilation and despair, I couldn't stop thinking about the power in voting and what it means in a country that appears so divided on cornerstones of democracy. The First Amendment, the rule of law, immigration, whether watching 18 hours a day of cable news is a good idea. I live in New York City and am a journalist. I've written articles on entrepreneurs at the top of their game, tech executives trying to survive Supreme Court battles, artists creating postcards with political messages, and the very real struggle to complete infinite jest. But my own story begins in Liberty, Texas. Its population now just shy of 10,000 people. It was an even smaller town when I lived there.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?